So this house was recently purchased, had a survey, they identified damp issues, and we were called in. So four things that came out, but two critical things is one, they said there was wood boring beetle, but a historic case of it, interesting, but not a big issue. Secondly, that there's dampness in the corner, and they said that that's caused by a defective damp-proof course. Now, there's only one reason for a damp-proof course, and that is against rising damp, and that is groundwater. Just like the subfloor ventilation, damp-proof course is a belt and braces in case there is dampness in the subfloor void. The most common cause of dampness in the subfloor void is from a leak, and yet rising damp is the most common diagnosis. And the reason why is because people don't look under the floorboards, they don't check for leaks. In fact, we're in London where groundwater is virtually impossible. So they identified dampness in the corner, and in fact, it turns out it's previously been damp-proofed against rising damp, which is completely useless. It does nothing, particularly as there always was a damp-proof course, and it's in London where the groundwater is pumped out. It's in part of London that even if groundwater wasn't pumped out, there is no groundwater in the rocks below the property, so there is no risk of rising damp. Rising damp comes from groundwater, that's the water under the water table, and the rocks below the property have no groundwater, so there's no risk of rising damp. The key thing though is if you do have water in the subfloor, you'll have high relative humidity. That's the indication, and what can happen is dampness can form above the damp-proof course in the form of condensation, bypass the damp-proof course and rise, just like rising damp. It's very similar, but it isn't rising damp. It's caused by condensation in the subfloor void that is caused by a leak. Meter reading, the water meter, if you look at the water meter reading outside, you'll see there's a very slow movement, and that's an indication of a leak. I checked for all leaks or drips on pipes, but there were none. It's likely the woodworm is historic. You can tell that it's been sanded down, exposing the wood boring beetle holes. So other things to note, on the outside there are cracks in the render. This is likely to cause some degree of penetrating damp, at least through the first skin of bricks. Water will pass down and it will be sucked in. Have a look at another property. You see water, when it rains, it falls down the wall, it gets sucked in through capillary action, and a lot can come into the wall. But what it will do is it will cause heat loss, and that will cause condensation, or sometimes it will pass all the way through. There's also issues with the paintwork to the front with microcracking that can cause water to pass through. It gets blocked by the paint, can't evaporate out, causes microcracking, some dampness on the external surface, causing heat loss. So there are a few things to know. One is the kitchen extractor fan was not ducted out, it's a recycling type, so no ventilation from that, and it's open plan to the rest of the property, so vapour from cooking is going to affect the rest of the property. So the three things that you can do is, one is put the ducting out, two is to close up the door, well, put a door in and have a door open or window open to the outside, or cook with tops and pots and pans, or in addition use a dehumidifier, and that's what I would recommend doing. So if you look at the surface relative humidity, I've created this website called moldpoint.co.uk, and you can quickly find out the surface relative humidity using that. You can find out the dew point, and it was 8.3 at the time of the survey. If you use data loggers, you can map out the surface relative humidity over time, and this is just showing how to use it. So the key thing was that the bathroom extractor fan wasn't working properly. It was only running at 4 litres per second. It should be 15, that's the lower number. And it was completely blocked up, which I cleared. There's also a backflow shutter that was in the way, so I removed that. You don't need it. It often causes problems. And I managed to get the speed up to 8 litres a second, which is not far off what typical properties have. So there was only a very thin amount of insulation in the loft. I would use double ply, 2 sections 800 mil. The subfloor ventilation wasn't working very well. It's the porcelain type. I freed up the blockage as much as I could. In addition to solving the root cause of the damp, you're going to have to speed up the removal of vapor. So it is worth considering putting a plastic vent in, because you get much higher through flow, because you don't need thick sections that you get with the porcelain type. So if you look at the corner of the wall that they said had damp, rising damp, you'll see this 8.7 degrees centigrade, despite the radiator being 49 degrees centigrade. You're getting almost no heat into the corner. Have a listen to the section on data loggers. So looking at the data loggers, we have, this I've already updated it, but if we put 8.8, if we look at the living room and compare it to the bedroom, and we put the temperature as 8.8, I think it was, and we graph it, we'll see the surface relative humidity is constantly at 100%. So condensation is taking place, including during the time of the survey or slightly before that. Even if we put in a temperature of 12 degrees centigrade, I think you'll find that there's a lot of condensation. Do you see? So 12 degrees centigrade is much warmer than the corner there, and yet we're getting condensation forming wherever there's a surface relative humidity of 12. So the things to look out for: surface relative humidity, and you can see there's massive changes, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But the all-important dew point is this line here. So this blue line here, the dew point line, tells me the amount of vapor in air expressed as a degree centigrade. It's also the temperature where condensation takes place at, and you want to keep this always below the outside temperature, this pink line here. By knowing what the outside temperature is, you can reduce the amount of vapor. And remember that the external vapor can never have a dew point above the outside temperature, because otherwise it would rain, and rain is condensation. If you're replacing internal air, if you're extracting it, you're removing it from the property, it has to be replaced by air, and that air comes from the outside, and it's got virtually no vapor in it at all if it's cold. You see, when the temperature drops, you'll see the vapor drops as well. So this is the external temperature here, and this is the external vapor. And do you see how much lower it is? It's below 0, and yet the external vapor is dropping to, well, minus something. So it's a time when you get sublimation, when it goes straight from vapor, from solid to vapor. So during this period, you are way too much vapor in the property, and obviously you don't have a kitchen extractor fan that's externally ducted, and the bathroom extractor fan is missing as well, if I remember correctly. So this is a dew point differential, and this tells me how much vapor there is in one room compared to the other. So when you've got more in the living room compared to the bedroom, and vice versa, and this will give you good information about how you're going to resolve it. Now, I wonder whether, so there are 4 sources. So there's vapor from humans, so that's about 3/4 litre per person per day. vapour from drying clothes, so it could be drying clothes that peaked out then. So cooking, and obviously it's fairly open plan, so that could be cooking at, I don't know what time of day it is, but maybe midday, I think, on the 16th, which is last Sunday, at 1:30 in the afternoon. So that could easily be cooking. So if you can see the impact of the vapour generation, you'll know how to remove it. So cooking with tops on pots and pans will reduce the amount of vapour from cooking. In addition, you've got half a litre from showering, but always keep the door closed, and until you have an externally ducted extractor fan, open the windows and keep the doors closed. So it's about vapour removal, and it's about reducing the production of vapour. Try and see how you can improve it over the week, and just use this graph to update it and just see how you're improving. Now, in summary, the primary concern and issue is that you've got a leak in the subfloor void, and that needs to be fixed. And I'll send over the details of the only plumber I know that can both find and fix leaks, but maybe there are others. I've got no personal connection. In addition, you've got obviously condensation from excess vapour in the main part of the building. So bathroom, I doubled the through flow, but it's a manual type. It needs you to switch it on and off. I would leave it on for half an hour with the door closed. Kitchen, you've got no extractor fan. I would use a dehumidifier and cook with tops on pots and pans, and consider putting in an extractor fan or external ducting. And gaps and cracks around the property that reduce the risk of penetrating damp. Just fill them with external caulk, and that should solve that problem. And then paint with an impermeable paint. Wire brush the outside front paint, and again paint with the same permeability of paint as you had before, or more impermeable if you're not sure of it. Have a look in the details for more information, and have a look at some other surveys here.
Grub, dig that line, larva twist, eat en el tiempo, pupa pulse, cambio, cambio, wings out wide, gusano baila, in the oak, in the pine, I make rhythm, I define, from Madrid to New Orleans, or the beat behind the scenes, sin veneno, sin control, we take timber, es nuestro role. Do know this, but I am near. Inside your floor, I disappear. We don't stop, dale, dale. Underfloors where the mame. Raving deep inside your chair. Cause on a rave, we're everywhere.
Desde el nuevo hasta el vuelo. Bailo en tu manera.
I bite your beams, I don't retreat. I'm the furniture beetle, carcoma then webble. Sweet! I watch the night, I drill with flair. I'm the death watch beetle, reloj de la muerte, beware. I twist in wood and leave no clue. I'm the wood weevil, gorgoho coming through. I'm long and lean with jaws of steel. I'm the house longhorn, capricorno domestico, real deal. I turn your floors into dusty toast. I'm the powder post beetle. I'm the powder post bibida and beetle. Talado de corteza fly high. I burn like chrome and dig with pride. I'm the flathead borer, cabeza chata smooth ride. I drill so deep I don't get seen. I'm a wood borer, baronador machine. I buzz and sting with deadly class. I'm a wood wasp, avispa sierra, cutting grass. With fungus on my wings I dine. I'm the ambrosia beetle, escarabajo, ambrosia divine. I like old homes, I make them groan. I'm the old house borer, banador de casas. On my own, I swamp beneath timber tire. I'm a subterranean fire. I keep it dry, I eat with grace. I'm a dry wood termite, madera seca, space. In carve my door. I'm a damp wood termite, madera húmeda I bore. I haunt the docks, I like it wet. I'm a wharf boar, taladro then way it, a real threat.